Hey guys, how's it going? In this video, we'll be doing a Paradrop on the Ju-52. We're going to go ahead and join a server here that's running the Paradrop, and I'm going to be talking about some of the history and some of the technical aspects or specifications of this aircraft in IL-2. It should be a pretty good flight. I think it's going to be about 15-20 minutes long, so you can sit in and strap in and grab a cup of coffee and just enjoy this flight. Should be pretty relaxing. The server is going to be populated, so there will be bandits out there. I'm going to try to arrange some fighter cover, but we'll see how it goes. Enjoy. Alright guys, so we are all loaded in here on virtual pilots. Just take a quick look at the weather. It's going to be summer. Clouds are pretty heavy level at 2,200. Temperature's 20. Winds are pretty light out of the southwest. Pretty much non-existent, actually. Just some instructions here. The front line is going to move according to how many enemy targets are destroyed or how many targets are intact at the mission rotation, so like when the map ends, and how many successful paradrops were made. So we're going to try to push this this line in a little bit by landing paratroopers on this point right here. If we look at our flight here, we'll be taking off out of Paradrop, heading east, staying north of this town, and following this kind of like peninsula. It's pointing right to this town right here, which is going to be our second waypoint. And right before we hit this town right here, we're going to start our turn southbound. And once we get to the shore, we'll be looking for some blue smoke on the drop zone right there. Once we drop, we're going to circle around to the left, make sure that we have 12 good shoots, and then use the coastline to escape and hopefully head back to Paradrop. Alright, so let's go ahead and set up our plane. Here is the Ju-52 German Paras. We got the 12 paratroopers, got the rear turret, 12 jumpers, and we'll just select Sandy, why not? Summertime. Got our photo there, that's cool. Fuel, we don't need a huge fuel load here. Let's take it down to 45%, about 1,090 liters. And we'll go ahead and load in. Alright, so we're all loaded in here. We'll be starting engine number one first, followed by engine number 2 and engine 3. We've got pretty light winds, so we'll be taking off to the east, and then starting a right-hand turn out a little bit to get ourselves lined up on 090. Let's go ahead and start them up. I'll talk about some things about the start here. Got the battery on. Let's go ahead and set our oil rads and mixtures all to rich for engine starting. Pump some fuel in with the pump down there. Fuel cock on, I guess it's number 2, is set to full open. While this is happening, let's try to go ahead and arrange a fighter escort. Sorry about the typing. See if we get an escort, we might not. Okay, number 2 is cranking up there. We can check our engine gauges. Oil temperatures are coming up. Just want to keep it between 80 to 100 once we get her going. It's turn 2. Okay, we're going to go ahead and start number 1 now. Temperature's coming up. Okay, third engine fuel valve is fully open now. We're just going to prime it. It's a manual prop crank. Pretending there's ground crew out there. Not a job that I would want. You know what they say about ground crew, get too close to your propellers. It's like that book Hemingway wrote, Farewell to Arms. Which is actually a really good book, by the way. Bad joke, but good book. Okay, we got a good start on all three. Temperatures are good. Nothing's overheating. Just going to advance the throttle a little bit. Make sure everything's still good. Keep it below 20%. Alright, everything's looking good there. We can go ahead and taxi out, make sure everything's clear. Go ahead and throw our lights on to let people know that we are about to take off. Double check. Area's clear. Fighter escort is not going to happen, unfortunately. Everybody's too busy. It's unfortunate. Go ahead and start moving here. So we out of the grass and get rolling, coming back on the throttle just a little bit. Keep a nice speed up here. Coming back on the brakes, and just make note of that little braking action right there with the throttles. I'll be talking about that later. Alright, power to max. Airspeed's coming up. Engine's looking good. Targeting 110 for the rotation. 100. And 110 rotate. Positive rate. We can't retract the gear, and we didn't use flaps because we're lightweight. Just keep the climb going up. There's 150. Start a right-hand turnout now to 090. We'll climb to about 400 meters here. It'll give us about 1,000 feet for the drop. Set climb power. $100 meters to go. And we can go ahead and turn our lights off now. And this altitude is good. It's about 1,000 feet right here. Should be good for our drop. Let's correct course a little bit. 2 degrees left. There we go. Go ahead and throw our autopilot on, or our auto level rather. Alright, so I'm just going to talk about some of the instrumentation that you can see here in front of me. We got the airspeed, obviously 230-ish right now. Max is 240 something around this altitude for our true airspeed. Turn slip indicator, course deviation indicator, as well as our automatic course indicator as well. Our VSI. There's our compass as well. Now that one I believe you actually have to slave, which is what he's doing right now. and that doesn't include any variation. And obviously the altitude indicator. Our oil, there's a couple different types of oil gauges here. We have our oil into the engine, and then below that our oil out of the engine, as well as our PSIs for our hydraulic systems. ATAs. These are our starters. Throttles, obviously. Fuel valves. Prop RPMs. This is kind of cool. This is a magnetic compass. It's just floating in alcohol, like you would be using a handheld, and it's suspended by springs to keep it orientated. And we can come back on the throttle now. It's at about 85. Another cool thing too is we got our oil float valve right there, so it's at a good level. And we have our fuel gauge as well back there. Lots of fuel, so we should be good. And each engine has the same, except for the front one. Alright, so let's just make sure that we're headed en route. To go from here and turn to east, should be seeing this town off to our right, as well as flying towards the tip of this peninsula, and then this kind of jetty that comes in right here, looking for this town, and then we're going to pick up this road, and then turn right before this town, heading south, looking for blue smoke once we cross the water. Now, once we cross this point right here, we'll turn our gunners active, since we could get bounced on our way to the target. Weather's pretty good. Let's go ahead and go over some of the history of this airplane. So the Junkers are Ju-52. It was nicknamed the Anjou, or Tante Ju in German. It's probably not pronouncing that correctly, but Iron Annie is also what it was known as. So the development of this aircraft actually started in 1930. And it was headed by Ernst Zindel. He was kind of the mastermind behind the whole thing. So it uses a kind of different corrugated duraluminum metal skin, which is strengthened. Again, it's unpressurized. It can't be pressurized or anything. But it helped structurally with the aircraft. It was actually initially designed as a single engine, but the tri-motor gave it a lot more power, a little bit more range as well. It was used prior to the war as an airliner and utility transport by various civil operators during the 30s, but after Nazi Germany rose up and took power, it became a staple military transport. Some of the airlines that it flew with in the 30s and after the war as well includes Swiss Air, Deutsche Lufthansa, which is pretty interesting. It was also used during the Spanish Civil War. After the war, it continued service as a civilian operator well into the 80s, but now it's more of a kind of heirloom aircraft, collector's aircraft. The first prototype came out October 13th, 1930. That's when it performed its maiden flight. It was using a built liquid-cooled V12 engine, capable of 800 horsepower. Had extensive trials on it, and then it was later re-engined to a 755 BMW 4 power plant, which is actually the power plant that we have here in this model, an IL-2. There were multiple different designs, as well as a float undercarriage option. Could also have been used as a bomber, although it wasn't super extensive. It was more used as transport. So a little bit more about the specifics of the design. It's obviously a low cantilever wing. Designed in 4 parts and put together, manufactured in 4 parts. Just some aspects about its cargo carrying capacity. It could carry up to 18 fully equipped soldiers. We're carrying 12 here. 12 stretchers when used in the air ambulance configuration. These airplanes could all be reconfigured to do multiple purposes. Supply containers and parachutists were dropped via the side doors, which is what we'll be doing today. So in an IL-2 we can carry up to 2,300 pounds of cargo, but it's actually saying that we could actually use a bit more than that here. I guess that's in kg, so yeah, it's about the same number, so pretty accurate. So yeah, pretty capable airplane, very robust. As I said, it was nicknamed Iron Annie. I'm just going to go over some technical specifications for the game here. So our indicated stall speed is 105 to 117 kilometers per hour, depending on weight. We rotated at 110. Dive speed limit is 335 kilometers per hour. That's when you start to get breakup. Load factor, we're looking at 4G. Maximum true airspeed is going to be around 241 kilometers per hour. Surface ceiling is 6,800 meters. Your climb rate drops above 6,000 to 1.4 meters per second. So pretty brutal climb rate up at the higher altitudes where the air is thinner. Another thing too, I'll just mention about the mixture. When you're up at those higher altitudes, you actually have to lean the mixture out a little bit because I'm just going to correct course a little bit here. Because the engine will be running too rich, which means that it's getting more gas than air. So the burn is going to be not efficient, and it's going to be running dirtier because you're not able to burn all the fuel because you don't have enough air. So you actually have to lean the mixture out a bit above 3,000 meters so that you can... Let's go ahead and tell our gunner to start looking out as well. So you lean the mixture, which means you give it less gas so that it uses the, obviously, ambient air coming into the engine. So you want to keep that ratio around the same. I think it's around 6 to 1 in these kinds of engines. Takeoff speed was 100 to 120. Again, we used 110. Glide slope, so 140 on the approach. Landing speeds are going to be 95 to 110. We're going to use the upper limit as a precaution. It's a little more safe. And you're looking at about a 12-degree deck angle on the flare. So the engine that's modeled here is the BMW 132A. You're looking at about 660 horsepower in takeoff mode at sea level. Oil temperature is rated to 60 to 80 degrees. Maximum output, so maximum oil temperature for the output, so coming out of the engine, we're looking at 100. And as you can see, we're well below that right now on our gauges. Defensive armament, yeah, so we have the machine gunner in the back. Let's go ahead and take a look at his position. It's a 7.92 MG15, modeled accurately. Got his ammo stores down there. He has 1,125 rounds available to him. But he's our only defense, other than fighter escorts, on this aircraft. Looking around here, we can see our ADF antenna, which is what the automatic direction course indicator measures from. But you have to tune a radio source to do that. I'm not sure if you can. There's our first checkpoint up ahead in front of us here. And there's that road that I was talking about. So it looks like we're on course, maybe just a little bit to the left of track. So we'll be turning right and heading over the sea towards our drop zone here in a couple minutes. So the configurations, as I talked about for IL-2, you have 2,300 kilograms of military cargo. Gives a speed loss of about 2 kilometers per hour. You can also drop transport containers, and the parachute they use is the MAB 250. Additional mass is going to be 2,550, so a bit heavier. And you're also losing 2 kilometers per hour there. So 12 pairs with ammunition. They weigh a total of about 1,200 kg, so you're looking at 100 kg per paratrooper. 2 kilometers per hour speed loss, and 4 kilometers per hour speed loss with the additional mass of the turret, as well as the drag that it creates. And fuel load, we're looking at 2,400 liters maximum. We didn't take that much, we took 45% because we don't need to be too heavy. Better to stay light, we can keep our speeds up and get in and out of the area faster. Anyway, so that's pretty much it in terms of what I wanted to talk about regarding the history and how it's modeled in IL-2, which is fairly accurate. Again, I've never flown this plane, so I don't know what the actual flight model is like. Let's go ahead and pick up our course here. There's that airfield that we're just to the north of. There's the road that I was talking about. And we'll just keep trucking along here for a little bit. Go ahead and take a look at our map. Brief the next leg here. So we're going to turn at this point right here, head south, should fly over our friendly panzer column and artillery. And we're looking for blue smoke just out the shore. We should be just to the right of this building and the left of this little lake. It's kind of like an inlet right there. So it should be pretty easy to spot. We'll train our eyes there. There is enemy aircraft above our panzers, so we'll have to be very careful. The escape is going to be to the left and then coming around using the shoreline as our exit. So before we get to the city, let's go ahead and start our right-hand turn out to the south. And looking ahead, there's that little in-lake pond. There's the city just over there, so blue smoke should be right there, and it is. We can see it perfectly. So there's our friendly artillery just below us there, just coming up underneath the nose. And it's a circular drop zone here, so we don't need to worry too much about the way we run in. But our goal is to get the first parachutist landing on the blue smoke. A little bit more. Check our altitude. 400 meters, that looks good. Alright, so we're heading right for the blue smoke now. Now we're not going to be able to see the blue smoke once we're over top of it, so let's start picking out some geographic features we can use. We got that kind of yellow field just before it, then a green field, and then looks like a tree line kind of coming in between the two green fields, which is going to be in line with about halfway down the field in between, like the first field with the blue smoke on it, and there's a second longer field after that. So if we use kind of that intersection where that corner comes into the yellow field, and then that tree line, if we start our drop there, we should land most of our guys on the drop zone. So that's what we're going to aim for. Course looks good. We're flying right for the smoke. Let's go ahead and just check our 6. Make sure no one's coming out of the clouds to bounce us. Look pretty clear. I don't see anyone, but once we're over the DZ, we'll probably attract some attention. Alright, so let's focus on the run-in now. Blue smoke is just coming up underneath us, disappearing. And again, here's the drop point that I was talking about, kind of that corner of the yellow field. And then that hedgerow. We'll drop when we're perpendicular to that. Small course correction here. Still a bit right of track. Hit the blue smoke perfectly. Gonna be flying over it soon. Oh, there's some AAA going up. We gotta get it out of here. Okay, there's the drop point. Release all the paratroopers. Green light's on. Jump, 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 jump. Give them a few potatoes to exit. About 15 seconds. Okay, they should be clear now. Let's go ahead and start our escape down. Pretty aggressive turn here. Don't really want to get spotted. And we're just going to orbit out to the left, counter shoots, and then make our extraction. There's all of our shoots right there. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 there. Was probably the one that I just missed as we flew by. So, good drop point. Looks like they're going to all land on the DZ. Let's go ahead and start our escape away. Kind of just short of the trees, but everyone else looks like they're right on the money. There's our coastline that we're going to use for the escape. Let's keep as low as possible, low profile. I'm actually going to stay over the coast so I don't silhouette myself against the blue. Take a quick look behind us here. Somebody's getting shot at up there. Not sure if that's friendly or not, but it looks like he's clear of us. For now, anyway. He's engaged with something else, it looks like, so we should be fine. Taking a quick look at the map. So we're escaping this way about here right now. We'll be coming up on this town right here. We could land at Temporary as well. But we briefed landing back at Burgaevo, so we'll do that. Actually, just for the sake of time, we'll land back at Temporary. We're gonna keep our speed up and plan for like a kind of like an overhead brake on coming in there, which means that we'll just keep our speed up until our landing point, about 200 meters, and then we'll turn left, orbit around, slowing down, getting configured, and then touching down. It's just a grass field there, circular. Should have lots of room to land. Getting a bit low. It's gonna pop up a little bit now that we're kind of clear of that combat area. Alright, so we're coming in here, fly over the city. We'll kind of skirt around the city this way, and then follow it, the edge of it in. Another peek behind us. Nobody trailing. Still got this guy way out here, though. He's probably too far away to catch us now. We'll be at the base before he is. There's that road leading to the city. Just kind of pick that up and just fly visually back in. Alright, there's the city, followed around to the left. There's two friendlies that look like they just took off at our 11:30. Alright, I'm visual with the field now, it's just in front of me right there. Go ahead and pop up to 200, slowing down as we do so. There's another friendly taking off. Let's go ahead and throw our lights on, let them know we're coming in. Go get him, little friend. I want to get your gear, though. I'll just let him know in the chat that his gear's down. Alright, so our aim point is going to be just past this little dirt road that kind of circles the strip. Turning left over the hangars, and then we'll taxi in for the hangar. Probably in between the two middle ones right there. Okay, speeds are going to be 140 for 110. Let's go ahead and start our brake now. There's 150. 140. We'll just hold it there. Keep our altitude up or a bit low. The field is ours. Coming in around to our touchdown point. Got on a short 3-degree final right here. Cutting our power. Leveling off. And idle. Holding this attitude. 120. It's 110, wheels down. Full back pressure. And go ahead and taxi in. Just keep our wings clear of the hangars here. I'll just shut her down right here. That is it, guys. Thanks for coming along, seeing the JE-52 in action. Collector plane that just this is actually like my third flight in it. Pretty good plane. It's definitely pretty cumbersome, like it doesn't handle very well, but has great utility, and it's good at getting these kind of missions done. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if I missed anything in the history. Feel free to let me know, and catch you guys on the next one.